Aging sometimes can be a triggering word. Just say we're growing in consciousness and confidence as we grow ever stronger and become more firmly grounded and rooted. When my little girl was about 2 years old, my mother-in-law, Lucille, said, "Jennifer." She's a little Rhode Islander. She said, "Jennifer, you know it's going to go by fast." And I said, "What do you mean, Lucille?" And she's like, "Oh, you'll see." She said, "All of a sudden, she's going to be graduating college. It's going to go by fast." And so I went home and I wrote this song. Boy, do I feel that now as I'm growing. I see my life go by in the blink of an eye, and I can't slow it down, Lord knows I've tried. Well, it all unfolds as it flashes by, as I search for reason and some rhyme. Well, the sun comes up as the moon goes down. Days are chasing us around. We try to make those good times last, but they go so fast. Well, we're born and raised, then we're sent on our way. And by the seat of our pants, we're gonna make it through the day. As we live and love and laugh and cry, the clock keeps turning, my oh my. Well, the sun comes up as the moon goes down. Days are chasing us around. We try to make those good times last, but they go so fast. Well, my song is almost done, but baby, I have just begun. 'Cause every time I'm learning how to rhyme. Another summer, winter, spring, and fall, and they will keep on coming at the luck of a draw. You better make each moment count each day, 'cause we know how fast they slip away. The sun comes up as the moon goes down. Days are chasing us around. We try to make those good times last, but they go so fast. Lord, it goes so fast.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everyone in the sanctuary, and of course to all our people out there on the internets, out there in virtual world. We're glad to see you today. And everybody knows the rule, right? We're so excited that, as much as we love the rain, makes driving nasty. And for everybody here who really went the extra mile to get here through the rain, that means extra Jesus points, right? You can trade those in for spirit points or Buddha points, whatever you choose, but you went the extra mile, and thank you so much for doing that today. So today we are finishing up our brief talk series on aging, and it's entitled Gray is Good. And before I get into that review that I do, from last week and the rest of today's talk, I'm going to start with a confession. I know that sometimes in talks, I have been known to say some things which make a few people uncomfortable. You're shocked, right? You're shocked. But what happens is normally is that when I say some things, you may not know it, I do pay attention, right? And I'm out there looking, and sometimes the look is kind of like this, or it's like this, and sometimes it's like, holy crap, what did he just say? It happens. It happens. So, when that happens, I look out there and I'll say, okay, I've hit a nerve. I've hit a nerve with somebody. Okay. So some of you might think, okay, well, Danny, then if if something you're going to say in a talk might make someone uncomfortable, why do you go there? Why would you even say that? I mean, aren't we all about positivity in unity? Well, yes, we emphasize the positive in unity, and that's important. In fact, one of our taglines is positive, practical spirituality. And at the same time, folks, there are some really tough topics in that curriculum we call life. So, in an effort sometimes to make everybody comfortable, we avoid talking about those topics altogether. And I think that is simply not healthy. And there are a lot of churches that are notorious about this practice too. We are not one. For me, however, church isn't where we come to escape the challenges of life, right? Now, we want everybody to feel welcome. We want people to feel affirmed. We want people to learn and feel lifted up, of course. We want to be a friendly and welcoming, loving place. And, I think we are. At the same time, church is not a place where we go to escape the challenges of life. Church is a place where we also go to learn how to deal with the challenges of life. And we can't deal with the challenges of life if we don't talk about them. And somebody has to bring up the topic. And that is part of the reason I'm around. So that is why we're talking about aging. So let's get going. Last week we learned a few basic facts about aging. First, we had a couple of fun facts, like, for example, as young and vivacious as Jennifer Farron is, she too loses her keys. She is at that age, and she finds them where? On the key rack, where they belong, after days of looking. And we learned that yours truly has learned the special skill at his age of falling down backwards while learning how to play pickleballs, which means pickleball is not in my future. We learned that most people really don't think too much of that aging process overall, and that there are those who will do anything they can to avoid the process altogether. The truth is, however, barring any accidents or unforeseen circumstances, aging is a reality we all face. And we're not always happy about it. And we learn that we have this negativity bias because our ancient ancestors developed it. Again, back in prehistoric times and in ancient times, they couldn't just take a walk down the road, right? There was a lot of dangers. So they developed this negativity bias toward a lot of things and situations in life. So we today, if we perceive anything or anyone as even remotely threatening to us or to our existence, we have this negative bias. And aging ranks right up there with death, at least according to a Bible verse or a Bible passage I shared from Ecclesiastes last week, as well as a saying from a philosopher's book, right? So we do that. It's a normal thing. Thank goodness, however, that all the news about aging wasn't and isn't negative. It's not all depressing. We learned too that through education and through practice, we can rewire our brains in a way to develop a more positive and open attitude toward the aging process. Doing so, when we're able to do that, is called the difference between being elderly or just simply aging to becoming an elder or elderly. Elders, we learn, have an overall positive attitude about life. Sure, they have down days and down times, but overall, they have a good attitude, a positive attitude about life, even through challenging times. Elders, healthy elders, are curious about life and they're open to learning new things. They embrace spiritual growth. They're eager to share their wisdom with younger generations. Now, on that note, remember, even though listening to and paying attention to the wisdom of our elders, that is important, age itself, just getting older, doesn't guarantee wisdom. Look around, look at the news, we know, right? It's not like we wake up one day at retirement age, usually 65. It's not like we wake up at 65 and bam, we are smart. We are wise. We are enlightened, and all those young whippersnappers have to listen to us. They have to do what we say, when we say it, and exactly how we say it. Nope. We may think that, but that's not how it works. Remember, wise elders are open to continuous learning and new ideas. So, yes, as we age and as we share our life earned wisdom, that is important to do. We do that, and we're open to learning new things, even from some of those young whippersnappers. You know, people in their 40s. I know my crowd, okay? We also learned that aging itself isn't the issue, right? Just the process isn't the issue. It's how we engage that process which makes the difference. So moving from simply aging to eldering requires establishing a new mindset. And in Unity, of course, Principle 3, we teach that by adjusting our mindset, adjusting our thoughts, we can change our outer reality. We can change our life circumstances. Okay, how do we start to do that? Now, I'm going to pause here at this point. Some of you might be sitting there thinking, okay, well, Danny, some of you at home as well, Danny, you know, I'm not quite ready to retire. And I'm not really at retirement age, so this isn't really applying to me. Or you might be sitting there thinking, I'm way past retirement age. And I know that what you're saying doesn't apply to me. Not so. You do not have to be near or in your retirement years to look at your eldering process and considering your eldering journey. Our book author I mentioned last week, Shakhtar Shalomi, says in his book that most of us start thinking about eldering and our journey in our later years, usually in our early to mid 60s, usually around what's considered retirement age. But there are people as young as their 50s, some in their 40s, who start thinking about what they want their elder years to look like. And there are people in their 70s and sometimes even 80s who haven't paid much attention to their eldering years. And then they start at that time thinking about how much time do I have and how do I want to spend that time? It's not like Medicare where you have a sign-up period. And it's not like Social Security where the longer we wait, the more money we get. That's not how this works. No, the biggest challenge for positive eldering has been typically for many years, we don't really have a blueprint for that. We don't have a roadmap to guide us. Consider this. We're born. We grow up. We go to school. Some of us establish careers, or we have different jobs throughout life. Some of us get married and divorced and married, and some of us get married and some of us don't. We have kids and grandchildren, and we're just going, and then one day it is over. And you think, what the heck happened? The kids are gone. The job is over. The career is done. We're retired. It's like we get up one day and say, now what? Now, what do I do? And if we haven't, oh Lord, and if we haven't previously considered what we want our eldering years to look like, this can be a tough time for people. And there are studies about how people who have not thought about their eldering years, how they can fall into things like substance abuse and serious depression and things like that. So it's important to do this kind of work. So to help guide our eldering journey, Unity Minister Reverend Robert Brummett encourages us to approach our lives, our eldering journey, by looking at our lives from 4 directions. And I don't think there's a right or wrong order to this. I'm going to start with looking inward, because everything starts from looking within. By looking within, we move, as Brummett says, from role to soul. From role to soul. We start releasing our attachment to our professional roles and our social roles, and we begin thinking about what's going on inside. We begin looking at our spiritual development. And this is incredibly important work. And I will say this, especially for men, because studies show that men are usually more attached to their professional roles than women. Not always the case, but a lot of men are attached to what they did for their professional careers. And if you don't start releasing that and working on it, men tend to have a harder time with retirement than women. Okay? So through practices like prayer and meditation, therapy if you need it, study, classes, you can transition from things, from saying things like, okay, I'm a retired engineer. I'm a retired stay-at-home mom. I'm a retired minister, or I was this, or I was that. And you transition from saying those things to saying, like God said to Moses, I am that I am. Or simply, I am. Next, we're looking outward. Now, this is the communal aspect of eldering. Making strong and positive social connections is critical. Again, studies suggest that those who have healthy, positive social connections tend to live longer than those people who do not. Now, this social connection idea means different things for different people. There's not one blueprint for all of us. For example, Shachter Shalomi talks a lot about mentoring, and some people do that. They develop mentoring relationships with younger people. After all, we can't sit here and complain about younger people not knowing what to do and how to lead and not, knowing how to handle responsibility if we don't share our wisdom, if we don't teach them. Remember the old song, Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love of All. What did she say? I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. That's kind of hard sometimes because we like control. Even as we age, we like control, right? So what do? We share our wisdom. We're there for mentoring. We're there for support. And then whatever they do with what we share is up to them. We let them eventually lead the way. Others volunteer. They find a cause they're passionate about and they get out and volunteer. Some are involved in spiritual communities. Still other folks join social groups where they meet new people and learn new skills. Elders with physical challenges, because positive eldering doesn't mean that we're not going to face some physical challenges. If people can't be here in person, if they can't be in groups in person, if they're not comfortable being in person. Some of these folks learn technology. Some of them do go old school and get on the phone and call and check in with people, and people check in with them. The point here, folks, is as we age, it's incredibly important for us to stay connected somehow. So we have looking inward, looking outward, and now looking back. Brahman states that looking back includes the process of harvesting our life experiences. And by harvesting our life experiences, he goes back to the book of Matthew, the story there about harvesting the wheat and the tares. Tares are weeds. So we're harvesting wheat and weeds. The wheat is the good stuff. We remember the good stuff, our accomplishments, and how we have made such a positive impact in society and in the world. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I've never made a positive impact, yes, you have. We all have. Even if we don't recognize it, if we have forgotten it, like we forget our keys, we have made a positive impact in the world. Weeds. Weeds represent our less than stellar moments, our regrets, our disappointments, and we all have them. We have all messed up in life somewhere at some time. Some more than others, but still, we all have those regrets. We acknowledge those. This is the stage in our eldering process where we begin to look at our lives and we lean on our power of release as we forgive ourselves and we forgive others. Remember, forgiveness is about healing, and especially healing for us. So what do we do in this stage? We acknowledge our past. We don't live there. We acknowledge it. We celebrate it. We learn from it. And we let it go. Over and over and over if we need to. It's okay. Let it go. Finally, looking forward. Now here comes the uncomfortable part of the talk. And it is uncomfortable. This is the stage of eldering where we make peace with our eventual transitions. Yes, science teaches us that we are all made of energy, everything, including us. We're made of energy. Energy does not die. Energy just takes a different form. And yes, in unity, we teach that we're expressions of God, right? We're expressions of spirit. We are expressions of source. Source, God, and spirit are unlimited. Our bodies, however, are a whole other matter. This stage is where we examine our beliefs about death and dying. We address our very normal concerns about this process. My stepfather, God rest his soul, very devout, conservative Christian man. When he was approaching his time of transition, he said, I have no concerns about what's on the other side. It's just how I get there. Yeah. What is this going to be? And we all think about, I think most of us think about that. How are we going to get there? It's not about what's on the other side. It's like, how? Right? Bless his heart, you know? And there's a practical side to this too. You know, we're talking a lot about our spirituality and how we feel about death and dying and all the inner work. There's some practical outer work too here. Folks, this is where we start making arrangements and thinking about what we want to do with our, with what the folks who are left behind, doing our paperwork, getting in order. It's all part of the process. And please trust me, I've been in churches in years past where people did not do that. It is a nightmare. Please don't do that to the people you love. It is one of the best gifts you can give them. It's one of the best ways you can show them you love them. Now, I know that's tough. And it's tough to think about this stuff. But you know what? The sooner we do it and the sooner we make peace with it, the smoother our transitions will be. Not only for us, but for those we leave behind. So just please take those words and hold them as you will. In closing, Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. Now, I wonder if that is at least part of what the eldering process is about. Figuring out why. Think about this. We spend so much of our lives on the hamster wheel of life, just doing, and keeping our heads above water, hopefully. We spend so much time with that. We don't stop to figure out why are we doing this. We just know we have to. So why not look at eldering as our opportunity to do just that, figuring out who we are and why. Rather than wasting these precious years on complaining and becoming elderly, why not invest these years in living our best possible lives from our highest selves? Let's fearlessly look inward and outward, back and yes, forward. Let's invest our eldering years in loving fully and loving wastefully. Because if it's all from God, there's plenty more where that came from. We have nothing to fear about eldering or aging. And how can I say that? Because we live in God, not in years. And so it is.
Another awesome talk, Reverend Danny. It was fantastic. All right, let us take some deep breaths in and focus on centering ourselves in the core of our very being. Repeat after me. I am love, I can feel it. I am love, I am. I am love, I can see it. I am love, I am. I am love, I believe it. I am love, I am. I am love, I am. I am. I am. I'm divine, I can feel it. I'm divine, I am. I'm divine, I can see it. I'm divine, I can see it. I'm divine, I am. I'm divine, I believe it. I'm divine, I believe it. I'm divine, I am. I'm divine, I am. I am.
So as we enter into a time of meditation this morning, I invite you, as you're comfortable, to close your eyes or hold a soft gaze. Relax your shoulders. Relax your mind. Placing your feet on the floor, kind of making it, grounding that energy. Take a deep breath in and release. For this morning's meditation, I want you to just breathe normally. Take breaths in and out, just follow your breath. We're going to look at our lives from the four directions. So as you continue to breathe, first I want you to think of, look inward. What do you see? How do you feel about where you are in your eldering process? Do you see positive light and love? Do you see some things that maybe you should think about a little more? It's okay. And as you take another deep breath in and release, I want you to look outward. Look outward. Where are your connections to the outer world? How does your inner life manifest outside? Who are those positive people in your life that keep you grounded? They give you strength. Who are those people? Consider, who are those people you can share your light and love with to help ground them and to lift them up? Who is your tribe? Think. Continuing to breathe, look back. Look back and celebrate all the good that you've done. Because you have. Celebrate the accomplishments. Feel that positive energy. Feel good about yourself. Release those things where maybe you didn't come from your best and your highest self. Release that negative energy that you may be feeling toward yourself or toward others. Just let it go. Now you've cleared your mind and you've cleared yourself to look forward, knowing that your spirit is eternal, that you are an expression of Spirit of God, that you have nothing to fear. Make peace. Make peace with yourselves, with others. Live fully. Love wastefully. Remember this truth and allow it to comfort you. so it is.
I am love, I can feel it. I am love, I can feel it. I am love, I am. I am love, I can see it. I am love, I am. I am love, I believe it. I am love, I believe it. I am love, I am. I am. I am. I
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Reverend Danny. Lots of food for thought from these last 2 weeks of